Welcome to the STEM Pathways with Rohan Sharma podcast, where we dive into the exciting world of science, technology, engineering, and math. In each episode, we share exciting stories, groundbreaking research, and inspiring interviews with experts and enthusiasts who are pushing the boundaries of innovation. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just curious about how the world works, join us as we explore the endless possibilities of STEM. Let's get started. Today I'll be interviewing Rafal Wlodarski, who holds a Ph.D. in computer science from Lodz University of Technology. How are you doing today?
Hi there. Hi, everyone. All good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. So to
Pleasure.
get started, I wanted to ask, what were you interested in high school and what made you kind of want to go down the computer science route?
Sure. It's actually kind of a funny story, and it started in junior high school, so even like a couple of years earlier. So it was all because of one assignment. So it was as part of IT classes, we had to set up a website on kind of any topic White might want to choose. So it was early 2000s. JLo was very big, Jennifer Lopez, and I was a very big fan. So I set up a kind of web page about JLo. And then I kind of put it to rest for some time, but then at some point, I think it was kind of towards the end of junior high school, I decided to put it online. And I started, updating it with news, pictures, and so on. And over the years, it kind of grew to become one of like second biggest website about Jennifer Lopez worldwide. And this is how I kind of got into IT. I was always good technical subjects, maths, so I thought engineering was a good path for me. So yeah, those kind of factors pushed me to study software engineering.
Yeah. So what was your experience while getting your bachelor's degree?
Um, it was, engineering studies are demanding, right? So this is something one needs to keep in mind. Um, so overall, I was happy with my engineering degrees. It was very enriching, and I was part of a program where all of the students had to go abroad for at least one semester, right? So I also did that. I went to Denmark, and yeah, anything more specific you'd like to know about the
Uh,
bachelor's degree?
yeah, I guess what made you want to go on and then get a master's and PhD?
Right. So as you might not know, it in software engineering, master's is not necessarily a must, right? So you can kind of start working in the industry after just a bachelor's or engineering degree. However, I wanted to kind of advance my knowledge in more specific areas. So let's say my bachelor's degree was kind of generic. There was no major per se, because it was done in English, and I wanted to just focus more on kind of software management, like management of software projects. So this is kind of what I ventured into as part of my master's, and then what I'd continue with as part of my PhD.
Yeah. And what was your PhD research about?
So it was kind of a mix of software engineering, project management, and pedagogy. So it was about um, software development methods, kind of management approaches to software projects in the context of student projects. So kind of whatever is done being industry, how to map it to the context of team projects being done as part of courses and classes, right? Which is kind of very different from a full-time work in the industry.
And uh, so what was your first job out of your PhD?
Kind of a very classical path. So I was employed as a software engineer at a kind of big consultancy. So something that, again, I guess the audience might not know, there are kind of two major types of companies that you can work for as a software engineer. So one is a consultancy, right, where you pretty much get assigned to a specific project where you build or improve a software system for a specific client, right? So this is pretty much what I did. Sometimes they can be small projects, let's say a couple of months. Sometimes they can be a very, very large projects or even programs taking years. So I kind of ended up on this large scale project Um, and I stayed at this company for 1 year. So that was kind of the big project I worked on. And then I continued with another consultancy because I moved cities, so kind of switched jobs, but still as a, let's say, software engineering consultant. Um, and then I switched to the other side of the industry, where it's a software house, so a company that builds a software product, right? So a application or a software system. So this was for, let's say, the financial industry. And this is where I stayed for kind of the remainder of my career in the industry.
Mhm. And when along this path did you realize that you kind of wanted to go into academia and become a professor?
Yeah, so again, kind of a funny story. So it was more of a byproduct of what I was doing. So as a software engineer, um, it's kind of, unless you kind of work for many, many years, it's difficult to switch to this management track in a way, right? So my idea was to get like an advanced degree that involves knowledge about how to manage software projects. So I thought, why not start a PhD kind of in parallel to my daily job? And as I did that, it took me a couple of years because naturally I couldn't. I had kind of a full-time job, and I was doing a PhD on top of that. And as part of my PhD, I did a lot of teaching. So we kind of call them teaching as research projects. So um, I was doing research while giving courses, and I kind of discovered that it is a very rewarding experience. And kind of this is where this idea of switching to academia came from.
Yeah. And what brought you to Carnegie Mellon and I guess Carnegie Mellon in Silicon Valley specifically?
Again, kind of circumstances. So as part of my PhD, um, one of my papers, kind of the paper that described the core of my research, got into a prestigious conference. It was still kind of right after the COVID, so it was in the remote context where I kind of hoped for some networking. Maybe that the conference would have a hybrid format, but it didn't. So I had to kind of come up with something original to kind of make an impact, right? Because every presentation, so every paper, had to had to come with a present like 20 minutes presentation, right? So what most of the people or almost everyone did is just kind of a simple PowerPoint slide deck, right? And a Zoom recording, right, with a small camera of someone presenting whatever the topic was. And in my company, we purchased this. I mean, the company purchased this kind of green screen equipment. So I did like a recording and like this weather forecast style, me presenting in front of the slide. So it turned out pretty well. So this is kind of what got the attention of the conference chair, who is part of the Carnegie Mellon faculty. So just kind of got it from there. They were looking for someone with profile. Um, they struggled to kind of find someone for my current position, and it turned out I was a pretty good fit. So um, we went from there.
Yeah. So, what's your research based around?
And so I am part of the teaching faculty. However, in Silicon Valley, we also do research, but it's not our, let's say, our um, the major part of our role. So most of the research I've been doing recently is about kind of how to improve teaching of software engineering. So this semester, for example, it's a big craze about generative AI. So I did an experiment to see if Gen AI can be used to kind of help scale courses. So we used chat GPT along two dimensions. So one is kind of as a assistant to students to help them upskill in domain knowledge. So let's say finance acumen they needed to build a team project. And the other one was to kind of get feedback on their deliverables. So as part of the same project, they had to come up with a model of the software system they were building. So kind of a abstract representation of it. So the experiment was to see if ChatGPT can be used along those two dimensions to help students kind of get better results. So that was kind of one of the recent research projects. And I'm embarking on a new research project next semester, which is creating an auto-grading solution. Again, which will involve kind of a team of Gen AI's agents.
And also, does this Silicon Valley campus, is it just a graduate school?
Yes, so it's only master's programs. That's right. So I believe there are free programs.
Mhm.
One.
And you said that this campus is in Mountain View. How different is it, do you think, from the main Carnegie Mellon campus?
So I actually haven't been to the main campus yet. So it's been only 2 years I've been working for Carnegie Mellon. So it's definitely much smaller. So we are actually we are based on the NASA campus. We have one building, which is, not very big. So it's not something you would imagine whenever you think of a university, right? Our program is kind of targeted for smaller groups. So we have up to 40 students in every course, right? So it's you get more of this family feeling rather than, being one of thousands or tens of thousands of students. So it's definitely a different experience. We know pretty much every student by their name, right? Which is, I suppose, not very common. Um, Other universities, and provide a lot of kind of personalized feedback. Focus kind of give a lot of time to every student, right? So I would say this is kind of the main difference, right? So you kind of know the faculty pretty well. Given that the building is small, there's proximity with everyone. Whereas the Pittsburgh campus is humongous. It's a very big university, right? With different departments, different majors. And the one in Silicon Valley is more of a kind of a homey family vibe.
Yeah. So, what are your future goals as a professor right now? Are you looking to kind of turn like and do more research stuff, or do you really like just being a teacher?
So far, I really enjoy what I'm doing, right? So I'm still relatively new to the role. It's my first role in academia outside of, like, being a PhD student. So definitely kind of develop my teaching portfolio. So I've been developing new courses. I hope to continue this way, continue with different research projects. So I would definitely like to kind of maintain this part of my role. Um, and in the long run, maybe kind of or the midterm, develop more contacts with the industry. So what I think I bring to the table, right, is kind of the industry experience. Even as a kind of PhD student, I designed classes that involved industrial partners. I haven't done that yet here in Silicon Valley. And again, one of the selling points of the campus is proximity to all of the major companies, right? So I hope to kind of bring in more industry collaboration in the upcoming semesters.
Yeah. So for my last question, I wanted to ask if you have one piece of advice for someone who's still in high school or early in college wanting to follow a similar career path as you.
Right. I think what is very important is kind of persistence, grit. So to never give up. I know it might sound kind of trivial, but I think this is a big part of what got me where I am kind of started in a way, humble beginnings, and I think what I'm doing right now is um kind of world class teaching and research. So, and I did this through kind of trial and error, and so there were a lot of kind of obstacles throughout the years, and I never gave up, even if certain things would take me, say, months or years. I kind of continued, and I think it's a kind of a very important part to success in academia, or even also as a software engineer.
Yeah. All right then. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
It's with pleasure. Thank you, and thanks everyone.